right. Hey, welcome everybody. It is 7 o'clock Wednesday night. Time for Sci-Fi Distilled. Welcome back, Mary Beth, of course.
Hello.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. How good? How are we in
We are
December?
definitely well into the holiday season now. I hope you're getting all your shopping done.
I'm not. I am behind the curve.
Yeah, I'm
Hello, Doc.
I'm clicking away at my shopping.
Yeah, me too. I'm like all online, baby. I'm not going out with the unwashed masses.
Sue, how are you? So tonight
Bill is here. Sue is here.
So tonight we are venturing where we probably shouldn't go. Certainly, George Lucas doesn't want us to go here.
No, I don't think any of the
cast of this show, but we have to. It has to be done. 1978's Star Wars Holiday Special only aired the one time. Thank God for that.
And it broke hearts
I believe George Lucas said if he could track down every bootleg copy of it and destroy it, he would. So. That being said, we will get to that. But first, of course, we have news. So let's do the news.
Let's do a little tiny bit of news. I have a little Star Trek news and a little Star Wars news. Breaking Star Trek news. Section 31 has set filming dates. And we've only gleaned this because the Directors Guild of Canada had updated, they publish all the stuff they're doing, and they updated it recently with Section 31 movie dates. So since it's the Directors Guild of Canada, I'm guessing that'll film in Toronto, which is where pretty much everything else has been filming. It's going to star Michelle Yeoh, directed by Olatunde Osunsanmi, who's directed a whole bunch of disco. And it will be filming from January 29 through March 13th. So it looks like this is happening. What do you think? And it's happening as a movie. Are you excited, or are you just like thinking more of the same?
Me personally, I'm kind of meh. I never was a big fan of the Section 31 idea as a TV show to begin with. I am a fan of Michelle Yeoh. I'm pretty sure it became a movie because Michelle Yeoh is a hot commodity now, and they can't afford her as a TV show. So they're probably saying, look, we have a contract. I'll do a movie. That's my feeling. I have no evidence for that, but you know what I'm saying? They felt she probably had some kind of contractual thing that she has to do this. So they said, we'll do a movie and call it done. And I don't think this was a show that I don't think anybody was asking for.
I don't think anyone was asking for either. I'm not sure why. I don't know.
Doc says he's excited for Section 31 until they kill it.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, again, I don't know. Maybe there was, but like you look at the, this outpouring again for this Star Trek Legacy show, and of course they would probably do better with that than a Section 31 TV show.
Yes, I agree. Absolutely, they would.
But in the way that things have been going with current Star Trek, I am not optimistic that they will make anything that I would consider a really good show.
We'll see.
So
we'll see. Moving on. Because I've got other Star Trek news that may or may not change your mind. The final season of Disco will premiere in April of 2024. They did confirm that the cast did not know while they were filming that it would be the final season. I guess they thought they would keep going, but it is the end. And then finally, in the Star Trek news, before I move on to Star Wars news, the Critics' Choice Awards nominations are out, and the Saturn Award nominations are out. And I got to tell you, Star Trek got some love, and that made me really happy. I'm hoping that this continues throughout award season. So let me just kind of zip down them. For the Critics' Choice Awards, this is the Critics' Choice Awards. Strange New Worlds got nominated for Best Drama. Celia Gooding was nominated for Best Supporting Actress. And Lower Decks was nominated for Best Animated Series. It is up against Bluey. I feel like it's Bluey's year this year, but we'll see. And then over on the Saturn side, and I can tell you some of the other stuff that got nominated too, if you're interested. Over on the Saturn Awards side, both Star Trek Picard and Star Trek Strange New Worlds were nominated for Best Sci-Fi TV. They're up against Andor, Foundation, The Mandalorian, The Peripheral, and Silo. I've seen all of those. They're all excellent. I couldn't choose if you
I
made
don't.
me.
You know what? And we talked about this. I personally don't see Star Trek coming out. There's some really good
competition.
stuff that they're up against that I think is better produced.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, as with Patrick Stewart and Anson Mount both got a Saturn nomination for Best Lead, and Frakes, Peck, Spaliers, and Stashwick all got nods for Best Supporting Actors. So I don't know, man.
Really?
That's a lot of Star Trek love.
Yeah, it is. It is. You're right. I'm not saying some of them aren't deserved. Certainly Stashwick. Stashwick would be my vote out of those.
I think, you know what? I don't know about Spaliers, but I think Frakes. I think Peck, Mountain Peck. I don't know.
Yeah,
but Patrick Stewart, yes.
Yeah, I mean, out of that, I would still say that. Todd's the man.
Todd's the man.
The Quint speech alone.
The Quint speech alone that'll be his when they submit the package. You know, when they build the package, the little clip. That's what you're gonna see, kids.
That was when I really loved the character. You know what I'm saying? That's when I was like, yes, this is my guy.
Yeah, Dr. Alexander, just go to Critics' Choice Awards website and all that stuff will be there, and go to the Saturn Awards website and it'll all be there. All right, let's do some Star Wars news since we're doing a Star Wars thing tonight. In Star Wars news, according to Production List, that's a website, and I think it might be a actual printed thing too, but it's a website. An untitled Star Wars movie will be the return of Daisy Ridley's Rey. It begins shooting on April 7th in 2024. So coming up in a couple months, they're going to start a whole new Star Wars movie. Yeah, are we happy about that, or are we just kind of like,
it's so funny because I see stuff online, Reddit, whatever, and there's two. There's the toxic fandom. Everybody says, Kathleen Kennedy.
Both Star Wars and Star Trek have toxic fandom.
And it's just the thing is, I'm sorry that whole Force Awakens time, that it wasn't the Star Wars that, and you know what, you talk about gatekeeping, but I'm like, when people say that they ruined Star Wars, we're talking about the people that are my age that saw it, the original in the theaters in 77, and what we're getting now is, so if this is the stuff you like, fine, but it's not what, I don't know, it's not what we're looking for.
I mean, yeah, it's 45 years ago, and look at Star Trek. Franchises change. I don't oppose the change, but yeah, you're right. Those three were not what any of us thought we were going to get. We all thought we were going to get Thrawn and the Timothy Zahn stuff.
Well, exactly.
We got Finn and Poe Ridley, Poe whatever his name is.
But you teased us with Luke, Leia, and Han again.
Yeah,
and we barely got that. We didn't see Luke in the first movie at all.
Nope. And then poor Carrie had an up and
the second movie was just atrociously stupid.
That's true.
And it just gets worse. So I'm sorry, cranky old man, but I don't. That's not the Star Trek. And just like the prequels were not the Star Wars was not the Star Wars I wanted. So I still will stand by the best Star Wars film that has been made to date beyond the original trilogy is Rogue One.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. Rogue One was
by far. Rogue One to me touched on what we wanted.
Yeah, it did. It absolutely did. This upcoming here's my theory for this, and you can tell me if you think I'm right or wrong. This says the upcoming feature will be set 15 years after the events of Rise of Skywalker, following Rey as she builds a new Jedi Order. So I think they're going to let Rey do all the stuff that Luke did, Luke was supposed to have done. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand that, and that's why we wanted Luke to do that.
And we wanted Luke to do that. Mark
he was our guy, and then he completely flubbed it. That it was just embarrassing. It just, it was. That's what I think. Part of it is it's that he was our hero, and then they destroyed him. That he failed, and it's like
he failed.
That's not the Star Wars we want.
And but they can let him fail as long as he redeemed, because that would have been like The Empire Strikes Back. It's bad at the end. Hans and Carbonite. The Empire wins. Yeah. Luke lost his hand. Yeah. Oh, things look dire. Luke failed. Sure, that's the middle of the story. Then you're supposed to have the Return of the Jedi. That's what's supposed to happen. We know the pattern. It's like poetry. It rhymes. We know, Lucas. We know. You didn't do it. You screwed up, man. And it wasn't you. It was Kathleen Kennedy. What can I say?
Kathleen Kennedy is just, don't get me started.
She doesn't know how to rhyme. She doesn't know how poetry works.
She had an agenda. Let's be honest. She had an
agenda. All right, last piece of news tonight, and this is relevant news. A Disturbance in the Force. The name of it is A Disturbance in the Force, a documentary digging into the behind-the-scenes story behind the Star Wars holiday special released on Blu-ray and digital media yesterday, December 5th. It's the 45th anniversary of the special's release. A Disturbance in the Force has had a successful premiere. It was actually in select theaters back in November. It had a successful premiere. It achieved #1 in the documentary charts on both Apple and Amazon, and it has received positive critical reviews. It has a 100% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes. So if after our conversation tonight, you still feel that you need to dive even deeper into the chaos and madness that is the Star Wars Holiday Special, may I recommend A Disturbance in the Force? It is disturbing. It's disturbing. Because this special is disturbing.
So
and anybody, with that,
so I do have, there's one thing, because I think I'm like the only person that's excited about it. Amazon Prime finally dropped the trailer for Fallout, which will be premiering April 24.
How is it looking?
So it looks interesting. It looks like the lead is a female, which is fine. So it looks like they've gotten a lot of the look of the world correct.
Oh, good.
They did play around with the main. There's one I can't think of. There's one somewhat famous actor. I can't think of what he's been in that anybody would that easily know who he is. Anyway, he's supposed to be what they call a ghoul, which is a human that has kind of been deformed and sort of. So, but they eased up on that look because they were afraid that the actor's known face would get too hidden behind the makeup. So they kind of toned down what a ghoul really looks like, at least for him. So anyway, but I am excited about it. I'm hopeful it's going to be at least a decent show. I hope they don't take it too serious, because the game has a certain kind of quirky funniness to it. So we'll see what they do with it. But yeah, April. So we finally got a date and a trailer. So if you're interested, you can go look that up on the Tubus of Youb.
Check that out. Martin, hello. Bruce Playfair has come and gone already.
He's got to go.
Bruce, I need more Skywalker focus. It's a big galaxy. Yeah, I don't know, Bruce. I don't know.
So anyway, all right. So diving into this mess.
Wait, before we dive in, what are we drinking to ease the pain?
Ease
the pain of this mess.
The Frost Awakens. Sort of, I don't know. It's kind of fruity, and yet I call it
pineapple. I'm down.
So you got basically coconut milk, pineapple juice, fresh and orange juice. Can't really go wrong there.
That's delicious.
Yeah. So anyway, here it is. All right. So I did see this as a child in 1978 as an 11-year-old. I watched it, and even an 11-year-old who wanted everything and anything Star Wars kind of went, what the hell am I watching? Very disappointed as a child at what they produced, because it was hyped, and you got to put it in context for 1978. The movie was such a big hit. It had been running in the theaters for close to a year. Like literally had like one of the longest runs of all time in the theater. So people were like, and you remember, we didn't have all this stuff like we do today, where we get this instant gratification with, I could just rewatch it because it's in video now and just So the fact that they were going to do this Christmas special was going to be huge. And I think the studio kind of must have known that this was they needed to make it a big extravaganza. And they kind of, I don't know what they were thinking what they came out with. Because even if I was thinking, I was watching it, and I'm like, even if you just pull out the story part of it, not all the other crap that they wedged in, it's still really bad.
Yeah, it's still too bad. I will tell you what I have heard in my travels researching this thing. Lucas, they didn't wash his hands of it, but he just handed it off to other people because he was actually already neck deep in Empire Strikes Back and was focused on that. So he just was like, oh, okay, yeah. Apparently, whatever script was written, it underwent like 4 or 5 revisions. And by the time they got to shooting, it was something like it did not start out as a variety show. It started out as like more of a straight story.
And that was a point I was going to bring up, because again, we have to go back to the time this was produced. Variety shows were very popular. You had Sonny and Cher, you had Donnie and Marie. I mean, pick one. They were all variety shows. So they guess the studio probably figured we need to do this as a variety show.
Yeah,
but I think they did stuff that they picked, like what was with that whole VR thing with Lumpy, and it was getting really weird.
No, like, Itchy the Grandpa one, the Diane Carroll bit, like that was.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm like,
questionable for children.
Going, I'm like, I don't remember it. I'm like, did I watch this as a kid? My father probably would have turned the channel.
Well, like, yeah, that's
whatever this is.
I mean, for most of the kids, it probably went right over their heads, but the adults watching were going, huh?
I'm like, what are they doing? But you got
it was creepy.
They were already thinking ahead to VR.
Yeah. Yay. You got one thing right. I don't know, man. Yeah. So the segments were everyone calls it Cirque du Soleil. I don't actually think it was Cirque du Soleil, but the little
it was like that. Yeah, that was like the first thing that was supposed to be. Well, they were trying to play off of the chess game.
They were trying to play off the chess game, which they should have just had more chess game. I'm fine with that. They had that. They had the cooking segment.
Yeah, what was that? Poor Harvey Korman. I love Harvey Korman, and this is the only thing I've ever seen him in where he wasn't funny.
He wasn't funny. They had Harvey Korman. They had Art Carney.
That's
and they had B. They had B.
B. Arthur.
B. Arthur, and it wasn't funny and it wasn't good. Harvey Korman was so good on wasn't he on the Carol Burnett show?
Oh yeah, the Carol Burnett show. Him and what was his name there? The other guy, yeah, Tim. Yeah. They were hysterical.
How could this not be funny? Whip stir. Like I don't understand.
Yeah, it was just but it was like these random little skits that didn't fit in.
Very random. They had nothing to do. It was just padding. They were just trying to make what amounted to like a 15-minute story plot stretch out to 2 hours. So they just were putting like random stuff.
Now there are, if you haven't seen it in a long time and you really want to see it, there are a couple on YouTube that are very good quality. They got 60 frames per second. I don't know how they did it, but it's much better quality than somebody's copy of a VHS tape from.
Yeah, that's where I watched it on YouTube.
Yeah. So I did. That's how I watched it on YouTube. I literally don't think I'd seen it in its entirety since 1978.
No, most of us haven't.
It was painful. I couldn't sit through the whole thing. I had to watch it in chunks.
I sat through the whole thing. I sat with someone who had never seen it before, and at the end, he was like, "My soul is broken." Like, because this is somebody who loves, the rest of us, loves Star Wars.
Yeah, it does damage your Star Wars love. It
damages your Star Wars love. Yeah,
it's that bad. And then poor Mark Hamill, his makeup is so awful because he had just
looks like a Ken doll.
He was in that horrible car accident.
He'd just been in a car accident.
He had a lot of surgeries and stuff, so they had to try to cover it up. But he looked like he was dead. Like,
I don't know if he said he broke his nose and that got fixed. I don't know what else he had for surgery.
He had a bunch of, but even his eye makeup was over. Like, he looked like a ghost.
It looked wrong. It just looked wrong.
Yeah. It was just,
Harrison was phoning it in. Carrie, I don't know what the hell Carrie's doing. Carrie apparently wanted to sing. Like she wanted to sing and asked to sing, which surprised me very much.
well, her voice wasn't horrible.
No, her voice wasn't horrible, but like, read the room, girl. No, this isn't good. But what I wanted to talk about was and I'm sure a bunch of this is in this Disturbance in the Forest, because now I'm like really curious. I want to go watch A Disturbance in the Forest. I should have watched that before tonight's show.
Yeah, I mean, I just found out.
One of the writers was Bruce Valanche. If you guys know Bruce, he pops up now and again as an actor. He's a comedian. He pops up on game shows a lot. He's got a very unique look to him. He was one of the writers, and he openly admits, like, yeah, we were on everything but skateboards, meaning we were, we were all under the influence of something. And that was the thing to do back then. It was gonna be Cher instead of Diane Carroll. And then somehow Cher couldn't make it, so they got Diane. And you know why they got Diane? She fit into that Bob Mackie gown that Cher was going to wear. It does look like a Cher costume piece too. I was like, oh yeah, that's very Cher.
Very Cher-like. Yep.
Very Cher.
But it was,
and then I don't know.
That whole scene with her was so creepy and weird.
The stuff, very creepy and weird. And yeah.
And I'm like, this isn't even like I was like, how is this even how did this get by any of the censors?
How did this get past the censors? Yeah.
For 1970. I mean, by today it's very tame, but
kind of yes and kind of no. Like things are different. Like remember
time and aimed at kids. Well, let me back that up. I think initially that's what it was. They were trying to hit a very broad audience with this, which is why they stuck in all the variety shit.
They were trying to sell more toys.
Well, they're always trying to do that. In fact, you can buy the Chewbacca in the little maroon robe now as an action figure. It's available.
Okay, wait. That whole thing with the lights and the walking and the thing and Earth Life Day, does that not kind of remind you of like Logan's Run? Did it have that feel to it?
Sort of.
Like I had a hot second there of like, are they all going to their deaths? What are they doing? What is happening?
I think they couldn't call it Christmas or even Hanukkah or anything. So they wanted a generic.
Yeah, they invented a holiday
that nobody could be offended by. So they just made up this life day. We're celebrating life. So I think that was pretty obvious where that came from. But yeah, the rest of it was just, and what's with the names? All right. Mala was fine but like Lumpy and Itchy.
And like Chewie is short for Chewbacca. They actually all had long names. Like Itchy was Attachakuk or something, and it just was shortened to Itchy.
Okay.
Do I buy that? No, I think that was a corrective thing
they did after how they got Art Carney to do. Like Art Carney, even by 1978, was not really a. I mean, he was a known household name, but not like Art, where he must have needed money. I mean, it's so random. Right, all the people, Art Carney,
I don't know. So of all the segments, I felt like B. Arthur was actually trying to do the very best she could with what she was given to work with. And I liked her segment of the bar in the cantina the best.
Well, okay, let's talk about that. Because she only did it because I guess her son was a huge fan.
Yeah, her son was a Star Wars fan.
And so she did it because of that. And so,
yeah.
But then again, there was a random thing. Like all of a sudden, we're going to do this. We're going to show you Tatooine. And because of why on TV. And it was like, okay, this random.
And be grateful that you're not them, right? Like
right,
it was
that's what it was. Be grateful that you're not them. And
she had a line, like the voiceover person had a line, like, and have gratitude that you're not. I don't remember what the line was exactly, but it was basically like that. Look at these poor schmucks on Tatooine. Aren't you lucky that you're not them?
You're not them. Yeah. And then again, we see we see what's his name there. Oh God. I was just talking about it. Why am I drawing a blank here?
Oh, Art Carney. No. Harvey Korman.
Harvey Korman. Yeah. And then what was that? And again, not funny. Kind of a bad character. I'm like, not funny. No,
highlights of this movie had both sexual harassment and animal abuse, which we will get to that. And it was a kid show, and the sexual harassment and the animal abuse came in what is the two parts that are widely recognized to be the best parts of this thing. And that was the sexual harassment was him hitting on her in the bar, and the animal abuse will come in the animated portion, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But just yeah, what the hell?
Yeah, I mean, his whole thing with him drinking through the top of his head.
Drinking through the top of his head. Yep. She said,
bizarre.
Come again. I'll be waiting for you, which is what she said to all the customers. Right, and for some reason, he took it.
So he ended up being kind of a creeper.
So it was a Me Too moment before Me Too was a thing.
Yeah, I mean, it was fairly mild. I mean, she was pushing him off, and
yeah, she could handle herself. She could handle herself pretty good. But my point is, like, my God,
it's like, why would you be enamored with the Arthur?
Well, she was the only other human in the bar. Everybody else was questionable.
He's not clearly human with his mouth on his top of his head.
But it was apparently it was all the leftovers from the movie, like all the costumes and the creatures and stuff were the leftovers from the movie. They were quite warm that day. I don't know what was going on, but I guess people were dropping like flies in their costumes because it was hot, and they had no air, or they couldn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a very everything went from one weird thing to another weird
thing. So the segments. So I started the segments were Cirque du Soleil cooking show, a softcore porn. We'll just call it that. The Cantina segment.
There was the thing where the Lumpy it was putting together the radio.
Yeah, put together your radio. That was the least funny. What was the point?
They were trying to do like a Max Headroom sort of thing.
They were trying to do a malfunction robot.
It was annoying and it's stupid. And
it was like, what is happening? And then am I missing any other segments?
Well, the
cartoon. And then of course we cut away Leia and we cut away to Mark, Luke.
Right. They have their little things, and then of course at the end they all join.
And then they were all together when Leia sang. Yes, of course. Oh, and we cut away to Chewie and Han in the Falcon.
Right. So, and then there's the whole scenes where the Imperial troopers are searching the house.
And then yes, the Imperial troopers went full Nazi fascism and were searching door to door. Why? Bruce Valanche, explain to us why. Well, we were all doing cocaine. Oh, yeah, okay.
I think it was worse than that. I think they were doing mushrooms.
I don't know what they were on, but no. Actually, no, he never said that. He never said specifically any specific drug, but he did admit they all did.
They had to be.
They had
but it's just, again, how the hell did some network exec or network censor?
No. Never mind network.
And go, oh yeah, this is what we're going to.
Why didn't George have final say on this? And his final say should have been no.
They should have never aired this. They should have just
never turned it over to other people. They turned it over to someone who'd never. I was trying to remember the stats on this thing. He'd never directed for TV or something before. I can't remember. Oh, there was a switch of directors. The first director struggled, and the second director just did what we saw. They wanted to have Raquel Welch and Robin Williams in this thing, but they both. They're
probably like, boy, did we dodge that bullet.
Bruce Valanche admitted to marijuana. That's all he would admit to. I feel like it might have been something a little stronger than that. But yeah, you're absolutely right. This kind of promotional crossover was really common for the era. Okay, why were there no subtitles for the Wookiees? We saw minutes,
that would have been nice.
Minutes of Wookiee scenes with no subtitles. They were just kind of growling at each other. We had to just guess what they were saying.
So IMDb says, according to their notes, Bruce Valanche admitted he was using cocaine.
Oh, he did admit it.
Yeah, while he was helping to write this.
Oh my God, he won't admit it in interviews.
Well, apparently this is what they're saying. So
now they did have Stan Winston on makeup, so that was good. That part was great because Kashyyyk, which is known to be Chewbacca's homeworld, has suddenly become Kazook. I don't know how.
Well,
Bruce,
I don't know by this time if they had really established the name of his homeworld.
I don't think they had, and I'm glad they
So-
changed it from Kazook to Kashyyyk. That's better. Bruce Valanche squarely and firmly blames, or I should say, pins the softcore porn scene on Lucas. He's like, "Oh no, that was George Lucas's idea. He wanted this thing and the thing, and you can see the thing and all the thing and the women and the thing." Okay, we don't think that's what he wanted, but okay, if you say so, Bruce Valanche.
Yeah, and obviously they took a lot of clips from the film, from the
Yeah,
original film or some stuff that was cut from the film that they just went.
Yeah, the Darth Vader stuff was all cut from the film.
Yeah, that was all like stuff that was on the cutting room floor originally that they just really reused.
And a couple shots of the Falcon flying around. And
right, yeah, those are pretty obvious that those are reused.
Yeah. They wanted the Art Carney character, interestingly, to be a prototype Lando Calrissian. Like Lando Calrissian sort of evolved from him, which is kind of interesting. I guess I could see that. I don't know.
Art will always be Ed Norton.
Yeah, he will
always be the sewer. That's why I am Son Dan was his character here. Of course, he was like a local trader, but he's still the New York City municipal sewer worker to me.
Yeah, he will always be that.
So
there were 4 songs in this thing. It was practically a musical, but there were 4 original songs. I don't know if you call the last one original or not, but yeah. And the idea was they wanted to keep, if this thing had turned out popular, everybody loved it, they wanted to keep cranking them out. And I think what it was is that George has always said that he really wanted to do a Wookiee movie. Like he really wanted to do just a whole thing looking at Wookiees, and he never got to. And I think this was like his one chance. I don't know that this satisfies anybody's Wookiee itch, Wookiee craving. I think it just makes it worse. But
and like you said, without the subtitles,
we don't know.
It was like, yeah, you can't understand. Interestingly enough, James Earl Jones, of course, did voice Darth Vader.
Yes, and James Earl Jones.
The first time he actually got credit for it.
Yeah, and the interesting thing,
it wasn't until Empire that they actually had it in the film that he was the voice of Darth Vader.
Is they said James Earl Jones as Darth Vader, but then they still said R2-D2 as R2-D2. So they kind of slightly
because what's his name didn't actually do it.
Oh, it wasn't Kenny Baker?
It was not Kenny Baker. He wasn't in it. No, only what's his name did C-3PO.
Anthony Daniels?
Anthony Daniels, yeah. So Kenny Baker can honestly say he was not in this.
Good for you, Kenny Baker.
Good for you, Kenny. Dodged a bullet.
You dodged a bullet right
there.
Harrison
didn't want to do it either, but they talked him into it, and I'm sure he regrets it. And they say if George Lucas is ever asked about this in interviews, he'll walk out.
I'm sure.
So if you really want to piss off,
actually, was it Anthony? Anthony Daniels wouldn't talk about it one time.
None of them would. Actually, none
of
them would. It was like none of them wanted. They all wanted.
Carrie didn't care. Carrie would talk about it. Mark won't. Harrison won't.
Yeah, they all just wanted to go away.
Like they wanted it to go away. Yeah.
So, yeah, that was just.
Oh my God! I mean, just what an absolute mess.
What network was this on? CBS. Okay. So. It was bad, and
I did forget a sketch, the Jefferson Starship, and then
that was another one with the
Starship is good. Like I like Starship. That should have been so much better. But why was it just a random?
Like that song,
a random music video.
When that song wasn't even was it made for this? Because I don't remember ever hearing that song ever again.
I think it had to have been written just for this. They did it, and that was it. They never performed it or used it.
Wasn't even there. Was she already off the band by then?
1978. That I'll have to Google. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because that's what I was looking for when I knew it was going to be Jefferson Starship because they kept changing their name.
Doc blames CBS.
Yeah,
Chris, they were Yellowstone.
CBS takes the blame for actually airing it and not catching it beforehand, but they probably had a ton of money invested in it. And they
probably
figured
saw how well the movie had just done and thought, "There's no way we can lose. You can make it as bad as you want. We can't lose with this."
Exactly, and this proved that you can make something.
As it turns out,
you could take something that's so immensely popular and still F it up to the point where you ruined it.
Actually, I'm thrilled that they didn't ruin the entire franchise with this, because it could have gone real south real quick.
It would have been pretty hard to do that with the fan base that, you know what I'm saying, with the original.
Well, yeah, because enough people didn't see this and just saw the movie, I guess. So it kind of worked out. Bill is saying, wasn't Art coming off Harry and Tonto? I don't know. I know B was still doing mod. She was doing mod back then.
Well, you know, Art had a huge drinking problem. So I wonder if he was taking jobs because, you know, I could be wrong, but
I couldn't even tell you like where he was.
Yeah, he lived 2000. He lived to 2003. So
speaking of sitcoms, as I'm talking about B. Arthur and Norman Lear just passed. I should have put that in the news segment. But he was a juggernaut of television and of all those little sitcoms and stuff. He was like one of the writer, producer, showrunner.
So the one thing we haven't talked about yet is the animated segment, the cartoon.
Yeah, all right, let's tackle that.
And that was, of course, featured Boba Fett, who we didn't even know who that was.
No, we didn't know who he was.
He wasn't. Remember,
and he had his U-shaped.
The original cut did not have Boba Fett in it. So the interesting thing about that is the only part of this that actually was re-released and added to the home video release as an Easter egg on the 2011 Star Wars Complete Saga Blu-ray.
Yeah.
So that again was the only bit of this that survived past the initial airing, and of course we know that even they took the rifle that he had, and we know Mando uses that long Ambin sniper rifle, whatever they call it. So, you know, and actually the animated segment was probably the best part of the whole thing.
It wasn't very good, but yeah, it probably was the best part.
But it was, if you know, within context.
The way Luke and Han were drawn were absolutely bizarre, but it was weird. Actually a nod to Mobius. So it was a nod to heavy metal.
Yeah, it clearly had that feel to it.
It had that look and feel to it.
Heavy metal didn't come out till 1980.
But there's already a magazine.
Yeah, well, true. Absolutely.
There was a magazine, so the look was there.
Based on the magazine.
Yeah.
So
they didn't know anything about the Boba Fett character. They had to get him together really quick. And so actually it turned out that what he was wearing in the animated, they did change it for Empire Strikes Back, but then they released a doll or a toy or something that was wearing more like what he wore animated. So they kind of kept it. That is the one little aspect of this that is kind of canon, I guess.
Right. Well, let's just say they kept it, and then of course they used the rifle for Din Djarin in the Mandalorian.
Yeah, they used it, but that was the animal abuse. He just would I don't even know what he was riding, and he would just like, well, stupid beast, and just whap it. What are you doing? So was that character development, or was he just an ass? Like what?
Like, it's no worse than, I guess, a cowboy putting the spurs to his.
I guess, I suppose, but he's just beating. He's just like taking his thing and just beating this animal that he's riding.
The thing is, you're right, because there was like this weird, because like, oh, he's friending Luke, which is clearly just a ruse, but because we know that, but Luke doesn't know that at the time, that he thinks he's being his friend, and I really didn't know what Boba Fett's end game was there. If he was just after Han, then why didn't he just go? If he knew where he was, why didn't he just go get him?
Yeah, they didn't really reveal him as working for either side. Yeah, he was definitely playing both sides against the middle there.
Yeah,
and that's cool. That's cool. That made him mysterious. No wonder everyone was like latched onto him as the new character and like, oh, he's interesting. Okay.
Well, so that makes sense. Once we saw him so briefly in Empire. You know, he didn't have a huge, and of course he took off. That character was very popular
in his flying iron.
Yeah.
Slave One, kids. Not Slave One anymore.
They don't call it. They never called it Slave One in the film. It was
they never
only
did.
the toy.
How did it get named Slave One?
It was the toy was Kenner
the toy
that added that in. That and the TV in the movies, it never was mentioned what the name of the ship was. So
interesting.
It was when the toy came out, they called it Slave One. But I guess they can't. They changed that to not have a name anymore. It wasn't PC.
A very odd thing. So Lumpy, the kid Wookiee, was watching animation about his dad and his dad's friend Han and his dad's other friend Luke. Like,
you're trying to put logic to this, and there is none to be had.
There is none.
Chris, you're watching it, and you're up to the Art Carney bit. Oh, you have a long way to go, Chris.
Chris. There's a lot more pain.
Art's in early and there for the whole, pretty much.
It's not over until Carrie sings, and then it's still not truly over, but at least
it's until Carrie sings, yeah.
Not over till Carrie sings. We celebrate a day of
did you notice there was a Wilhelm scream?
There was a Wilhelm scream when the stormtrooper went down
over the rail. Yeah,
I like the way they just kill him off and then tell the Empire, yes, he stole from us and wandered away. And the Empire takes that as truth.
And he took off.
And the Empire's like, oh, okay, all right, well, we'll get after him.
Find him at the bottom of this tree, and they're gonna be like, well, that doesn't fit with the story.
I wondered, I'm like, well, did they bury him? Like, how does this work? Did they drag the body?
The only thing he did was he took the rifle and he threw it out after him. Like, I guess maybe the trees are so big and tall that they'll never.
It looked tall. I mean, admittedly, in the matte painting, it did look tall.
So maybe he was just a flat.
Yeah, Chris says he's 20 minutes in. Chris, you got another hour, hour 10,
an hour left to go.
It's like an hour 30.
It's torture.
Or an hour 40. It's like an hour 40.
I would have not made anybody watch this. Whoever your friend was, Mary Beth, you're probably not friends anymore.
No. I'll have to show him something good.
The funny thing is, we see these bad things like I always talk about Plan 9 from Outer Space, which is like the worst movie ever made. But that movie is so badly made, it's good. Like there's so many things to be laugh at, and because it's so bad. This movie, I tried to say that, like, well, it's so bad. No, it's just awful. It's just one awful thing after another. There's nothing. It has no redeeming qualities to it whatsoever.
But at least it stayed cohesive. Like the plot line was cohesive throughout the story. They didn't lose the plot. This thing never really had much plot to start with, so they're just off on tangents left and right. There wasn't a
plot. It was just like weird little things to get you to the next weird wedged in segment.
Yeah, it was just a series of show. It was a variety show.
Yeah, and that's what I know. The network might have been the ones, and again, not having seen the documentary, maybe this is explained, but I bet you the network was the one saying, "Oh, we got to have some singing and some dancing in there. You got to have something for the adults to watch." Not just for kids. And
look at Larry running around doing stuff.
They're saying that the softcore thing, that, like you said, you did say that was George that wanted that in there.
Yeah. Well, Bruce Valanche says it was George. I have no way to confirm that, because all I saw was a snippet of an interview where he was like, "Oh yeah, that was George's idea." Jeff Rubel, you can watch it on YouTube, and what you can do if it's just that painful is go to this playback speed and make it twice as fast, so it'll go by really fast.
Yeah, it's about an hour and 38 minutes total.
Yeah.
Which amazed me when I started to watch it. I had no recollection. So this thing with commercials was 2 hours.
Yeah, 2 hours of commercials. Bill said he's impressed with us watching it. Bill, for our audience, we will watch.
We do,
because we had to be reminded how bad.
This is what we do for you guys, because I would have never tortured myself with this again. It's just, wow.
Well, I mean, Roy tortured himself with it on the Roy's Tie-Dye Sci-Fi part.
Last year, I'm sure he had a very similar experience as to. I don't know anybody that said this. They enjoyed it seriously. They may say,
everyone walks away going, "Why? Why?" You walk away like going, "Why? Why?"
That's there is no. It's again. It was a money grab. I think what they were trying to do. Obviously, the writer was on drugs. I think, and I think the studio was probably saying we have to make it a variety show so that people like the adults will watch it and stay watching it. Because like a lot of people, I'm sure a lot of you guys that are my age, you had one TV in the house, at least one good TV.
Yeah.
So if Dad decides he doesn't want to watch this anymore, the TV got changed. So they probably knew that the most of the American households had the one television that. So if they're going to get the family to watch it, they had to cover a broad spectrum of
for everyone.
All right, Martin says the Muppet Star Wars special was better. I bet it was. I bet the Legos. There was a Lego Star Wars special, and I bet that was better too. Maybe we should cover those. I said since we did a bad holiday special this week, we're going to do a good holiday special next week. And I had originally said Guardians of the Galaxy, but I don't know. Maybe we need to do Muppets and Legos if we want to keep doing Star Wars. I don't know.
No, I think we'll do Guardians. The Guardians of the Galaxy one was actually a good.
The Guardians of the Galaxy was very
good music. It was a good, cute story. I think overall that was probably one of the better.
Chris, the Shadow says Plan 9 from Outer Space is Gone with the Wind compared to this.
Oh, imagine if Ed Wood directed this.
Imagine if Ed Wood had directed this.
Well, your Family Guy, you're talking about Blue Harvest, Bill? Is that what you're talking
Bill,
about?
you want us to do Blue Harvest?
Blue Harvest? Is that what you're talking about? The Star Wars one? That it was, of course. We should do that at some point.
Jeff is asking if variety shows are a thing anymore. I don't think so, Jeff, because we have all of the interweb to entertain us now.
There was the one black guy that you remember the what was the show? Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah.
And there was the one black guy on that show. I can't think of his name. Wayne something.
Johnson? No, not Wayne Johnson. Wayne.
No. But anyway, they did try. I think it was Fox or something. He had a variety show that lasted like one season.
I believe it.
They tried to bring it back, but it didn't take.
Wayne Brady, thank you, Bill.
It's not what American. We want dark sex and.
Apparently, America wants.
Yeah, we don't want singing and
Succession and Billions and.
Yeah, it's not what we look for in television anymore.
And Yellowstone. That's what we want nowadays. Yeah. And Andor.
Wayne Brady. Thank you, Bill.
And Bluey.
Wayne Brady had a variety show and must have been the early 2000s, I'm going to guess.
We don't need a variety show. We have internet. I can watch shorts on YouTube and literally flip to the next one if I get bored.
Remember, I don't know. Does MTV even show music videos anymore? Is music videos even a thing?
I mean, they must be, but where do you go to watch
any anymore?
I feel like it's just kind of mandatory now. Like once you release a single, then you also have to release the video and the this and the that.
Yeah, but I mean, like MTV doesn't actually show music videos anymore.
But it's not like they're showing Real World anymore either. What are they showing? What's on MTV nowadays? And that's how out of touch I am.
I couldn't tell you. They went off the rails when they started with Real World.
Bill says MTV does still show music sometimes. Well, hey.
Okay. There you go.
Does VH1 still exist or has that gone by the by?
They were the ones that had, what was it, Comedy Central that had the Real Bowl? It was supposed to be making fun of the real world or the real. It was the same thing, except it was like it had the same open, like 7 fish picked to live in a bowl.
Oh,
it was supposed to be like the real world, but it was a real.
There was an animated one called Drawn Together too that was really messed up.
Yeah, so that was pretty funny.
Yeah, Chris agrees. Music videos are dead.
So, they're saying that. Not saying, but one of the things that it wasn't really supposed to be Christmas. It was supposed to be more like Thanksgiving, and it did air. It did air at Thanksgiving.
It aired actually after Halloween, but before Thanksgiving. Yeah. So it was a generic. It wasn't specifically Christmas, although it has all the trappings.
Like you said, it was supposed to be. It aired right around Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So, and the Life Day was supposed to be. It was really more like American Thanksgiving. So.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it was. I guess it's kind of a cross of American Thanksgiving and American Christmas. Yeah, no gifts though. Although the one guy, Son Don came in with gifts, so I don't know. Maybe it was.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, we're applying our holidays to a fictional.
Yeah, good point.
Holiday. So maybe it's their thing. I don't know. you're Italian. Isn't every event a gift giving event? Doesn't like they always bring shit everything every holiday?
No, but every event is more food than you would ever eat in your lifetime event.
Because like my family, it's like everybody they show up. Oh, here I got you this. It's like you'd swear it was Christmas every time my family gets together.
No, we just eat.
Except me, because I'm like, yeah, I didn't buy nothing.
And cook and cook. And my 82-year-old mother already said, okay, Mary Beth, come this weekend. We'll start making the Christmas cookies.
Right.
Okay, Mom. It has begun.
Yeah, we never did we did. I shouldn't say we did the Christmas cookies, but yeah, we don't do it as a whole family operation. Of course, we're all.
We do because there's 97,000 cookies, so you got to do it.
We started doing a cookie exchange,
Oh.
So like everybody brings a bunch, and then we get plates, and we take a little bit of everybody else's, so that when you're done with Christmas, you have a whole variety of different cookies.
Chris, we ate until we died. Yep, that's the Italians.
Pretty much. There was, not to get off the subject too much, but my family, I had family members that never actually left the dining room table during holidays. Like they would just, because especially the way like the house I grew up in, the dining room and the living room were kind of like T to each other. So like they would literally just turn their chairs like 90 degrees to face the living room.
Yeah.
And they were, okay, so now they're doing Christmas. And then it's time to eat again. So they would just rotate again. Like they never actually left the dining room.
Chris is doing Secret Santa. Chris Rousseau is talking about Italian holidays.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's all it is about massive amounts of food.
Massive amounts of food.
I'm telling you, we do. Well, we do Feast of the Seven Fishes.
Yeah.
So I do that. And then, the whole thing. And then at midnight or after midnight, we start cooking sausages because we do. And like, nobody wants to eat it. We're all so full. And then they cook it and they bring it out and everybody eats it.
Yeah. And you eat it.
Because you eat it. Because then, you could have meat because it's Christmas Day because whatever it is, Lent or whatever's over.
Didn't know what holiday was. We're eating lasagna. Yeah.
Yes. So now we do the fish. Thank God we don't do a lot of the traditional.
We don't do 7. We got a couple fish in one dish, and that's it. We call that our fish.
We usually do even more than 7. It's just that we luckily don't do the traditional stuff anymore. At least not all of it. Some of it we do, but like the bacala, that dried cod thing, where you have to soak it for like 5 days.
We used to do herring. I remember the herring with sour cream.
Sand shark was a big one, which is just some kind of fish. I don't even know what kind of fish it is. That was like a New York Italian thing. And then I do remember at one time the eels. They did eels. I remember them swimming or the animals.
We would do calamari.
We don't do that stuff anymore.
Calamari.
We still do the pupe, which is octopus.
So
we still do the calamari. Yeah, octopus is actually really good. I know people freak out when I say that, but it's actually quite tasty.
Right. It's good. You do it wrong, it's rubber. And I've had
we figured it out. We figured you don't boil it, which was always the traditional way. We sous vide it.
Keep it tender.
Yeah, and that's how we do it. And my brother even had a different method. I forgot. Oh, he pressure cooked it, I think. He's even beyond sous vide. He's like, just pressure cook it. And it tenderizes it, and then he grills it. See, what we do is we do it, and then we put it on the grill with like a marinade.
Chris is getting hungry. Sorry, Chris. We're talking about our holiday food.
Good stuff. I know people freak out whenever I tell them about the octopus, but it's quite tasty.
It's an Italian thing.
It's what I grew up with. So, yeah, Christmas Eve dinner is bigger too. So anyway, well, it's almost 8:00. Look at that. Yeah. So anybody who was willing to torture themselves
on YouTube for free
to watch this, I'm curious to see if any of you actually watch this and think it's good, or could sit through the whole thing without getting up and at some point.
I sat through the whole thing because once you go, you just got to plow through it. Like you just got to get through it and get it done.
I watched it in clumps. I watched it in about
none of it is good.
I couldn't sit through the whole. Plus, I was watching it on my computer, so I wasn't like. It's kind of hard. It's not the most comfortable to watch it on the TV.
Oh, I have YouTube on my. I can get it on my TV.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I could too, but then I have to watch the commercials.
Oh yeah, you hit skip.
I run ad blocker on my computer, so.
That's wise.
So I tend to watch YouTube on my computer instead of on the thing. So of course, once again, you Canadians got tortured an hour before us.
Sorry, Canadians.
Sorry, it did run an hour before it did in the US for some reason. So, haha. Not so proud of that one, are you?
Phil has nothing. He's off this week, and I don't know what Roy's doing. He moved his Brothers Grimm show till December 13th. 13th? Yeah, 13th. And I don't know what else is happening. I don't know what he's got going on this weekend. So,
okay. Well, I think next week we'll do Guardians next week for sure.
We'll do Guardians of the Galaxy. That's a good holiday special.
That's a good one.
And if you want us to look at Legos or Muppets, I'm down. I love me some Star Wars in any form, really.
Star Wars Muppet?
There was a Muppet, Star Wars Muppet. I don't think it was Christmas. I think it was just Muppets doing Star Wars, a Star Wars special.
Oh, because I know Mark Hamill was on.
I remember Mark being on.
Mark Hamill was on the regular Muppet show.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know what that big long link is, Jeff. Type what the link is for.
Yeah, I think it's for some.
Is it for Roy?
Maybe for Roy's event. I don't know.
Is it Roy? Good. We need to know what Roy was doing. That's good.
Well, I know he moved some stuff around. So
he moved stuff around. I can't keep up with him. Or Family Guy. Yeah,
Blue Harvest.
Blue Harvest. Blue Harvest might be worth taking a look at.
Or do you do the something dark side and?
Oh, Roy's doing $6 Million Man.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite shows as a kid.
That was a really good one.
That was another one. You had it because that was on late, wasn't it? It was on at like 9 o'clock.
I don't remember.
And I think I used to have to negotiate
to stay up to watch
my bedtime to watch. I had the doll. You could look through his eye.
I have the girl doll. I have Jamie.
Yeah, I had the action figure. I don't know. I'm sure it's gone. My mother got rid of a lot of stuff. So you used to be able to lift the engine block. It was pretty cool.
It was cool. So, good choice, Roy.
Yeah, good one.
See, look at that. We immediately all got nostalgic as soon as you said, "Oh, that show." Oh, yeah, that show. We remember
all
that
those
show.
Toys. They had some good toys for the 70s. Even when you think about it.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, because you know why? Because Star Wars led the charge, saying, "Look, you make a movie."
Star Wars really no, but we had stuff before that.
Toys.
$6 Million Man was before Star Wars.
Lindsay,
I had action figures. I had like Planet of the Apes action figures. I had a lot of cool stuff. But yeah, certainly once Kenner came out with all the toys for Star Wars, I still have all that stuff. It's all down in my basement.
And very quickly, and $6 Million Man with Andre the Giant. Yeah, very quickly, every other show and movie on planet Earth realized, hey, we can make money by putting out toys. You know what we need to do that's in the 80s? We need to do Knight Rider.
I never really watched a lot of that. I was not really that super into it.
Kit with his Cylon eye.
Yeah. Yep, with Kit. Yeah. That was Of course, that was the Trans Am, right? Basically. It's basically a Trans Am. Yep. So, all right, guys. It is.
I might be singing Knight Rider, or I might be singing Blue Thunder. I'm really not sure what I'm singing. All right, kids.
Blue Thunder is another good movie. Anyway, all right, guys. Well, we'll see you next week. Sorry we had to torture you with this. If you choose to watch it,
report back.
You've been warned. So you might not like Star Wars after this.
It's gonna break your soul, and there's very little that can be done to fix it.
It is soul crushing.
It is soul crushing.
How I would.
It is soul crushing. But next week we might cheer you up a little because it's heartwarming.
Yeah, if you haven't seen if you have Disney, you can watch it. The Guardians.
If you have Disney, go watch Guardians of the Galaxy.
It's good. It's not. I think it's only like 45 minutes or something. 45 minutes. It's not like a full even hour.
It's short and sweet. There's a lot of funny moments. Kevin Bacon's in there.
Yep.
and Nebula and all the characters.
Yep,
It's
all
great.
the characters. They're on nowhere, right? Yeah.
And Groot. Yeah, they're hanging out nowhere.
So, all right.
Jeff's going
well,
to therapy. All right.
we will see you next week. In the meantime, live long and prosper and happy Life Day.
Happy Life Day, everyone.
Bye-bye.